Andrew Liveris, thanks for joining me. We had an 11-year runway, the longest of any host city to prepare for the Games. Did Queensland waste the last 3 years and a half years getting to this final infrastructure plan?
To understand the value of an 11-year runway, you've got to also understand it's the only second Games ever to be given that amount of time. Clearly Los Angeles and ourselves have learned what to do with that extra years, because what has become apparent in the 3 or 4 extra years is that with regional games in particular, legacy infrastructure and venues become very super critical to your planning process. So we in the Olympics side, the team I ran, did a lot of early front-end planning around strategy, around branding, around commercial sponsorships. All those things have now been executed and planned, waiting for the venue plan. And now here we are with a venue plan. But no, not wasted.
There was a lot of political to and fro, though,
Yes.
over that final
Yes.
infrastructure plan. Were you embarrassed as a Queenslander as to how all that unfolded?
I remember during that period of time, I had to have media and press conferences, and I said, look, we have the time. We've got to stop squabbling, and it's not a good look. But at the end of the day, the back and forth, the decisions that needed to be made, spending the taxpayer dollar for the venues, needed to have political support, and the government of the day had to wear that.
What went through your mind when Stephen Miles proposed using QSAC?
Yeah, so to be honest, I had to actually know where QSAC was. I
didn't know where it was?
Well, I knew Brisbane Commonwealth Games '82. That when I grew up, where I was here, that's what I knew it as. The fact that it had been renamed QSAC had escaped my attention. But yeah, look, we had to quickly scramble and say, we need to know more. I mean, so visited the site pretty quickly, saw its limitations.
Are you happy we're not having the Games at QSAC anymore?
I'm ecstatic with the decision around Victoria Park.
Yeah, so you're confident it'll be delivered on time?
Sitting here, the timeline works.
What's next for Brisbane 2032? Is it the sporting events?
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff in front of us. We're 9 months of activity that builds on the goodwill of last week's decisions. Sports allocation early next year, middle of next year latest. So sports to venue. Mm-hmm. We now have venues, so we can fit sports to venues.
On the sports itself, so
Yeah.
LA is adding flag football,
Yes.
squash, baseball and softball, lacrosse and cricket.
Yeah.
Will those sports continue in Brisbane 2032?
So what sports matter to A, the Australian consumer, B, the global consumer, to get more TV revenue? I think you've got to think about it that way. Now,
So you want some money-making sports?
I want revenue because this is a commercial activity. I'm going to cost no money to the taxpayer. That's very important. If I'm going to add things, it can't be criteria that's a flight of fancy. Or it'd be good to add that sport because a small constituency wants it. It has to have a financial positive.
Does having a brand new stadium at Victoria Park and a new aquatic centre help with that ticket revenue?
I can absolutely tell you that I can now go to market with a massive positive. One of the great things about Paris was the athlete and fan experience. I can now see a fan experience and an athlete experience at the new precinct in Victoria Park with the aquatic centre nearby and the village potentially right next alongside it as a very marketable thing for people to actually come and visit, be part of, and then have a legacy.
I want to ask you about ticketing. Can you guarantee a portion of the tickets for the Games, including the opening and closing ceremonies, will be made available for Brisbane residents?
Very important for us that happens. I mentioned community engagement before. I mean, Paris had 1 million tickets sold at 40 euros or so. I mean, we will have affordable ticket pricing for the demographic that we care about, which is the citizen that isn't, the elite VIP, hospitality oriented. We'll have that. In fact, we'll have that priced so they can help us on the ticket prices being lower for pretty much everyone else.
Some events, I imagine, will be expensive. Will a family, for example, be able to attend the swimming finals for an affordable price?
So one thing Sydney did well, which we'll learn from, because we're Australia, we're not France, and certainly not Los Angeles in America, is making sure that tickets were put to one side like that. So there wasn't just the rich and the elite that can go to them. I think we are that type of society.
How many Olympic and Paralympic Games have you been to?
Olympic Games, counting Paris, I've been to 7. Paralympics, just this one.
And how do you
Paris.
expect Brisbane will be different to the ones you've been to?
So I get this job, within a week I get asked that question. And because I've been to so many games before, I said, let Brisbane be Brisbane. Let Queensland be Queensland. Let Australia be Australia. I still have people around the world, before I got this job, talk about the Sydney Games. Not because of the Opera House, not because of the Olympic Park and Homebush Stadium and all that, but because of Australians. We are really good hosts. That welcoming attitude of Queensland and Queenslanders is a powerful selling point.
Andrew Liveris, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Jack.